Hello YouTubers, it's your girl Nancy. I am back with another OT video. In this video, I will be telling you guys how to pass the level 2 fieldwork and also give you a little advice on what to do and what not to do. And just little tips to kind of make the process a lot easier for you, easy breezy. Just to start, I just wanted to let you guys know that I really did not like fieldwork. It's not that I didn't like my placement or my clinicians because they were awesome. I just didn't like the whole idea of fieldwork because I just felt like the whole time I was being judged and I was being graded, which it is graded. And so that kind of made me, not be myself 100%, I feel like, because I felt like I had to put on a persona that will make me pass the class, because I think the whole time I was kind of like thinking about just passing, getting through it and passing it and moving on to the next step. And so I just want to let you guys know that fieldwork is very, very important, and don't be so caught up on just passing and missing the whole experience of fieldwork. The whole point of fieldwork is for you to gain as much experience as you can possibly gain before you start working. So take advantage of it. Ask as many questions as you can possibly ask. If you don't understand something, please ask questions, write it down, because 10 out of 10 this question or something that you didn't understand will probably come up when you start working. So it's better for you to ask questions now and to kind of do a trial and error type of thing than to do that when you graduate and now you're a new clinician and you're making mistakes because you didn't take full advantage of fieldwork. So I think fieldworks are very, very, very important. So make sure that you guys take full advantage of this time of your life. It's a really good experience, and get as much experience as you can possibly get, honestly. So I have my list here. I'm just gonna go down the list and make sure I don't miss anything. So the first thing I'm going to talk about what you need to know or what you need to go over before you start fieldwork. The number one thing that I have listed here is SOAP notes. So just make sure that you guys go over how to write SOAP notes. I think it's very important for you to know that. It just kind of make you have very effective documentation. So if you know how to do SOAP note, is going to be beneficial for you. Number two, learn how to write effective goals, okay? And I can literally talk about this for days because goals can be extensive. So just make sure that you have effective goals. Learn how to write effective goals for your patients. Number three thing is just safety. Safety is very, very, very important when it comes to your field work. Okay? You have to always do the safest thing for your client, if you guys know what I mean. So like, for example, make sure you go over your precautions. You need to know your back precautions, your hip precautions, and all of that, especially if you're going to be working in a hospital or a skilled nursing facility, inpatients, outpatients, probably everywhere. But more, it depends on the setting, I know that. So just make sure you know your precautions. Make sure you know your PAM, P-A-M-S, which is basically your modalities. Make sure you know them, and also the contraindications that comes with them. Make sure that you know how to do a safe transfer. So going back to the PAMS thing, know when or when not to use ultrasound, for example, when to use cold versus heat. All those things are very important. When to use an E-stem. If someone has a pacemaker, please don't use an E-stem. If someone has a seizure, you are not going to be using an E-stem on them. So making sure that you know all the PAMs and their contraindications are very, very, very important, because that's also under the umbrella of safety. My number three thing under safety is saved transfer techniques. Make sure you go over all your saved transfers. Make sure you know how to transfer. If you need to do a demo on your sister, your brother, your mother, your dad, go ahead and do so, because it's very important for you to know how to do a saved transfer. Trust me, you do not want to drop your patients while on field work. That might be an automatically fail. So just make sure that you are being safe at all times. If you cannot do the transfer by yourself, don't feel like because you're doing field work that you have to transfer this heavy patient that you cannot transfer by yourself. Ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not going to fail your field work because you ask for help. It's better for you to ask somebody for help, for assistance, than to try to do a transfer, drop the patient, because that would be an automatic failure. Okay, you don't want to fail. You don't want to do that. Ask for help when needed. I promise you, you're not going to fail because you're asking for help. You are a student. You are supposed to ask for help when needed. Okay. So always make sure you also have a gait belt. If you are going to do a transfer by yourself, make sure there's a gait belt around your patient. Even if you're doing a functional, whatever you're doing that you feel like there's going to be some kind of functional mobility or transfer, have a gait belt around the patient. If you're doing a standing balance activity, have a gait belt. If you're going to be moving from point A to B, have a gait belt. Okay? Learn how to do sliding board because they're going to be important, especially if you are in a skilled nursing facility. You're going to be doing sliding board one way or the other, so make sure that you know how to do that. The next thing on my list is make sure you know how to do range of motion and how to measure range of motion. What a bead action is, flexion. Make sure you know all of that stuff and how to measure it if needed. Make sure you know how to do your manual muscle testing. That's also important, and it's going to come up. You're going to have to do it. So just make sure you're comfortable with doing all of that. How to check for vital signs is also important. Learn how to check for blood pressure, heart rate, and all of that. All those stuff are very, very, very important. And also how to monitor vital signs to see when your patient needs to take a break, if they need to take a break and breathe, if they just need to take a break in general. All that, and paying attention to those type of things while you're treating your patient is very, very important. Because sometimes you may have to return the patient back to their room or to the nurse if their blood pressure is too high or too low, if their oxygen levels are just crazy and all over the place. So make sure that you know how to test them and make sure that you know when to stop. Know the most common diagnosis, and I say that because they're gonna come up, especially, let's say if you work in a skilled nursing facility, 10 out of 10 there will be a hip fracture. There will be COPD patient, a patient with a heart problem. There will be probably someone with MS, ALS, stroke, or know your stroke at the back of your hand because you are going to have a stroke patient, okay? What else? You know, the commonly Parkinson's, or arthritis, dementia, Alzheimer's, all those kind of like commonly diagnoses that you know that you're probably gonna encounter with. Just make sure that you know what they are, what the symptoms look like, how to, like, different treatments for those type of specific diagnoses. So you can, even though each person is different, just kind of know a general sense. Okay, if I have someone with MS, they're probably gonna have fatigue problem, for example. So I may want to teach them energy conservation techniques, for example. That's just one example that I can give you guys. So that's something that would be good to know, right? If you know energy conservation techniques, you have a patient with MS, you can go ahead and teach them some energy conservation techniques, and that will look really good for you as a student, and also your clinician is going to be like, I like this one. You know what she's talking about, you know? So just doing a little homework can kind of help. So the second part of my video, I'm going to be talking about advice. I'm going to give you guys different advice that I think is important to know. The first advice that I'm going to give you guys if you are going to your Fieldwork level 2 is that the setting in which you go to for Fieldwork is very important. So the type of setting that you pick is very important. I say this because I did a skilled nursing facility for my first level 2 Fieldwork, and it really prepared me for my first job. Like, when I started working, everything was so easy for me. I'm not going to say it was 100% easy because nothing is 100%. However, it was easier for me because I had the practice during my Fieldwork level 2. That's what I'm saying, that it's very important that you keep, oh yeah, that's also very important. Keep all your notes, keep everything, every question that you got, if you need your fieldwork instructor to print you out things so you can have a folder, keep everything, because you are going to need it once you start as a new grad. Until you gain some experience and you are confident, you're gonna need those notes that you took. So take good notes, print stuff out, just make sure that you take advantage of fieldwork, period. If you feel like you really want to work in a hospital, for example, get a field work in a hospital setting. If you feel like you really want to work in a skilled nursing, get a field work in that, because if you really do enjoy it, getting your first job in that setting would be glorious. It would be so smooth for you. Another advice is time management. Okay, if you are going to pass your field work, your time management skills have to be up to par. Like, it has to be just up there. It has to be good. You have to have really good time management. It's very, very important. You have to be organized. Get a calendar, get a binder, get a post-it notes, get something, because you have to be very organized. You have to write down, do stuff, especially depending on where you work and how the pace is. Have an agenda book. For me, I always had not a binder. I always had an agenda book with me with dates, and I'll write down like when things are due, when things need to be done, and all of that, because it just made it easier for me. And I also had like a small notebook like this with me that I would take notes down in, and to go to reference back to, and that helped me a lot. So for example, if I was doing an eval during field work, like the first week of field work, your instructor will be working side by side with you. At least for me, that's what it was. And then by the third week, I was kind of by myself. So for the first week, make sure you take as many notes as you can possibly take, because you're going to be going back to reference on that note to start doing things more independently for yourself. So having a small notebook like this would be very good. Or if you had a pad or anything to take notes with, having an agenda book to write down notes and things that are important is also very, very good. It's going to show that you are serious. If you want to even have a binder with you, put together a field work binder. I was thinking about doing a video like that, maybe putting a binder together or something. Maybe it's just a thought. Depending on the setting that you're gonna go to, if you have a binder and it has like different precautions, it has all the PAMs listed with all the contraindications, it has some diagnosis and symptoms and interventions and stuff in there, that's gonna really serve you well. So that's important. Being on time is also very important, and that goes back to the time management. Get there on time, okay? If you can get there before your fieldwork instructor, that better. If not, whatever time that you're supposed to be at fieldwork, make sure that you are not late. It doesn't look good when you keep coming into work late. So this is like a job, except that you're not getting paid for it, which can sometimes suck, but it's a really good experience. So just take advantage of it and be there on time, show initiative, and just be a good student. Also, being a team player is very important. Like, you have to be a team player. You have to be able to work effectively with other people that work there, being able to get along with other therapists that work there, the doctors, the nurses, the CNAs. That shows a lot. I think, in a student. So make sure that you are just like a team player. You collaborate with your clinician. You are collaborating with other people that work there. I think that shows a lot as a student. Always, never, ever, ever assume anything. If you don't know something, that's what I'm telling you to when I say take advantage of field work. If you have any question, I don't care if you feel like you know it, just ask. Because your fieldwork instructor might have another take on whatever it is that you have question about. So ask questions, ask as many questions as you want to, because you are not going to fail fieldwork because you're asking questions. But you might look bad if you don't know something that you're supposed to know once you start working as a new grad. So this is the time to go in and just ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. It's better for you to know than to just assume and do it wrong. That will look bad. Than for you to ask, no, do it right. Okay, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't problem solve for yourself. You should, but at the same time, there's certain risk that you shouldn't take. Like, if you're not sure about how to do a save transfer, don't do it and do it wrong and drop your patient, that type of thing. Okay, let's see, another advice that I have for you guys. If you are during your field work, if you feel like, you know what, I'm not doing well, I feel like I'm gonna fail, I'm not really vibing with my field work instructor like that, like things are not going well as you thought it will, like you just feel like things are just not okay, talk to your fieldwork advisor and let them know, this is not working for me, I'm trying as hard as I can and it's not working for me, can I please get a new fieldwork placement? It's better for you to do that than to go ahead and sit there and fail your field work, and then you have to, depending on however your status is in school, you may have to pay money to take another field work. That's just time and money. You don't want to do that. So if you can get another placement because your placement just sucks and nothing is going right and your clinician is just not great, then go ahead and get another placement than staying, failing, and have to start all over again, do it all over again. So that's my advice on that one. What else? Always show initiative. Suggest new ideas, like come up with different things that you think might be great for the setting that you are. Also, you have to do a project or a presentation. The first field work that I was at, I did a project and it was so cute. And then the second field work, I did a presentation about like different projects that I did. And sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking, but it was fun. It was fine. So just start thinking about different projects or different things that you want to present, different research that you may have done in school. You can, present that to them, or anything of that nature. Yeah, so I think that's basically it. Like, honestly, guys, if you really take this opportunity as a way to get to know yourself, get to know what you like, what you don't like, who you are. I learned a lot about myself during field work, and I think field work really does prepare you for the real thing. Like, it prepares you more than classes, like the courses you took in school will prepare you for the real thing. And I do think that field work, like more field work, is needed than school classroom work, because it really did make me feel like I was ready to start working, and I felt really confident when I did start working. So having a really good clinician to guide you through field work and make you a great clinician and make you a great OT is very important, because I've heard a lot of terrible stories where clinicians were not good clinicians and they were just not doing their job, and the students felt like they didn't get anything out of the field work. So you don't want that for yourself. You have to also, if you feel like your field work instructor is not giving you enough, say something, talk to them. Or if you're not comfortable with doing that, call your school, talk to your fieldwork advisor, and have them call your instructor and come up with some kind of plan. Like, okay, we're gonna have whatever the plan is, whatever works for you and because you have to remember, you are paying for this. This is something that you paid for. You paid for that class. It's a class, and you want to get the most out of it, so ask questions, right? Anything that you feel like you need to know, write it down. Like, take advantage of it. Honestly, this is the time for you to, it's like a trial and error. That's what fieldwork level 2 is. Don't be scared to fail, but also don't be scared to ask questions. Don't be scared to not know everything, because trust me, nobody knows everything. I don't care who it is. They don't know everything. Don't feel like you're stupid because you're asking the question. It's better for you to know than to just assume and then do it wrong. That looks bad. So that's the end of my video. I hope I didn't leave anything out. If I did, and you guys have any other additional tips for people going to fieldwork level 2 this summer, leave it down below. If I think about anything else that I forgot, I will also leave it down in the description box. So thank you guys so much for watching my channel. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching my channels. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you come back soon for a lot more videos. Bye bye.